Even. Odd it is. Abe will serve first. Halftime at 15, games to 25, win by 2. Good luck, guys.
Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink for the WPH R48 Pro stop number 2 with Abraham Montijo here in the round of 16 up against the blonde bombshell Alan Garner. Abraham from Tucson, Arizona gets that first serve.
Short ball.
And it's a short ball. This court looks really clear here, Dave. The setup is really nice. Abraham Montijo qualified yesterday once again on his home court where he seems to play really well. But he's going up against Alan Garner, who's certainly one of the best players in the world.
Well, Abraham, Dave, is feeling really good about himself. He's qualified for the first time in a year and a half. He qualified, Dave, as a youngster and then had a little bit of a rough spell last season where he fell into a bit of a slump. Didn't really play his best handball at the race for 8 stops. Was still playing good ball, but just didn't seem to have it at the events. Yesterday, Dave, though, he beat a very game Shorty Ruiz. And unfortunately, Dave, he did draw probably the toughest guy he could have drawn out of the 4 guys in the 5 through 8, Alan Garner, who has been in the top 4 for the majority of the last 4 years, but he slipped down to number 7 actually right now in the rankings due to a lack of activity and also some mediocre results for him.
Both players wearing their white shirts here. Abraham Montijo was on that team elite that went to the World Championships wearing that elite shirt.
2 play 0.
Referee is Anthony Celesto.
Abe's the local favorite here. He's got a lot of his friends and also junior players here watching him and supporting him. I think David could actually work against him because Abe's one of those nervous type guys. He's very anxious. He's a completely different player when he's relaxed compared to when he's bound up tight. And right now, Davey looks a little bit tight, and that's a very tight swing from Abraham there. It's not an issue, Dave, of not being able to see the ball. This is his home court. Plays here 5 times a week. Garner just going about his business very methodically and quickly. He's off to a 4-0 lead. We haven't even seen any of Garner's trademark flat rollouts yet.
4 play 0.
And you know those are coming, Dave.
And once he gets warmed up with this brand new fast ball that the players are using, the R48 Pro Ball, sponsor of the tournament. Well, you know, it's a weak return from Abraham, but Alan Garner is one of the hardest hitters in the game, and when he lays into it with a little bit of that wrinkle that you see right there early, he said that he loves the ball because he can do some tricks with it. Now, Alan's not a power server, but with this ball being so quick like it is, he said that he's going to lay into some today.
That's an amazing shot, Dave, from Alan. Looked like he was going to go to the roof there, and instead punches the ball on a line right behind himself. But, you know, Dave, Alan's serve is much maligned, but he's actually got a very underrated and a very good power serve. It's a kind of serve that just feels heavy when it's coming at you, and when you're returning, it just feels like it's pushing you back. Alan Garner, Dave, took 5th place at the U.S. Open and a nice boatload of cash to go with it, but he could have easily won 1st place there, losing to Sean Lenning 11-8 in one of the best matches we've seen, I believe, in the last couple of years. I had Alan winning that event had he gotten past Sean and beating Brady, but that rivalry between Sean and Alan, Dave, seems to favor Sean almost every time they play, actually 13 out of 16 times. But Alan will not have to deal with Sean here until the final, should they both make it that far.
Well, the scoring format here in the round of 16 as well as the round of 8. And look at that left hand from Abraham Montijo. That's what Alan Garner does to people there. Sneaks it around.
0 play 7.
But the scoring format is 1 game to 25. You have to win by 2. No rally scoring. So it's a traditional scoring type of format, but it's 1 game match to 25. There will be a halftime at the 15-point. And there are a lot of players here, the elite players, that are kind of chirping about this this scoring format.
Well, there's a lot of chirping going on here. No, not only about the scoring, Dave, but also the blind draws that have taken place.
7 plays 0.
Some of the traditional players don't like it, the blind draws. That was a smoked short ball right there from Alan Garner.
Second serve.
But the blind draws are eliminating a lot of those strange matchups that we had last year where, I would not say strange, but they were very repetitive type of matchups where every tournament we saw the same players playing each other.
Well, Dave, anybody that follows sports knows that if you're the #1 seed,
8
getting the
plays 0.
traditional 1 plays 8, 1 plays 4 draw, it's a huge advantage every time to the #1 seed. And certainly the #1 seeds earn that, but you also want to see variety and also giving everyone an equal chance to win. And I think that's what this will do over the course of a season. And I think we'll see some really exciting matchups and guys that didn't get a chance to face off a lot last year squaring off here this season.
Now I know Alan Garner's up 8-0 here, but if you take a real quick look, we have Emmett Peixote playing Victor Perez.
8 plays 0.
That's a good matchup. And also Andy Nett versus Nikolai Nahorniak.
Oh, that's a blockbuster. And Dave, if you're Abe Montijo, you're laying in bed hoping to get off to a good start and really having nightmares that you could get off to this kind of start where you're down 9-0 before you've even blinked. And remember, we're only playing 1 game to 25, so it's not as though he can throw this game away and hope to come back in the next game. He's got to now outscore Alan Garner 25-13 to win this game. I don't know if anyone's ever outscored Alan Garner 25-13 at any stretch in any match. So it's a tall order now for Abraham, who has to be, Dave, thinking about pride at this point. How can he get on the scoreboard? He's not hitting the ball well. He's not serving well. And he just seems extremely anxious right now. You can see even as he's warming up, he just looks so stiff. I know, Dave, you play Abraham a lot, and he just flows. He's got a beautiful fluid stroke with a lot of pop. And yet you see him in here now, and it's almost like he's locked up.
Well, I think it's with every player that when you know you're going to beat somebody, you feel much more relaxed. Abraham is sort of one of those exaggerated players. When he knows that he's better than somebody, he will put zeros on them. But when he knows that he's not as good, he goes the opposite way where he really can get a 0 put on him. And you see right there, he's very tight. He is a retriever, though, so he keeps the ball alive against some of the top players.
But even the greatest retriever, Dave, really has no hope against Alan Garner, who kills the ball flatter with both hands. And I believe maybe anybody that's ever played the game, really doesn't matter how fast you are. When he shoots the bottom board, the point is over.
Check the ball, please. 10 plays 0.
Abraham needs to start using his legs and at least get his blood flowing a little bit so he can get himself into this match. Right now, he's completely out of sorts, and he's not doing anything well at this point.
11 plays 0.
Picked up Alan Garner this morning, Dave, bring him to the club, and he said, you know, I've got to talk to you, but my wife told me that I need to be nice. I'm not happy about the draw, but you know what? I like the challenge. So he's went from
12 plays 0.
reaming me out to actually thanking me for giving him an even greater challenge. Isn't that what life's all about, Dave?
Well, I guess so. And it isn't a great draw. I mean, look at Luis Moreno's not happy either. If Alan were to go on here, and it looks like he's probably going to, Luis has to then also face Alan Garner in that round of 8, and you see a lot of fans out in the stands are also asking, why is it that these two top elite players are playing each other in the quarterfinals? Because one of them will be eliminated after the end of this tournament. That's kind of a sad thing, but Alan really did that to himself because he didn't play in a couple tournaments. He lost a ranking or two, and he put himself in that 5 through 8. You did play, and you got yourself into the 3 seed here, Dave, and that's, you know, part of the benefit of traveling and playing.
Well, you know, rankings don't necessarily rank the best players in order. A lot of it has to do with how much you participate, how successful and how consistent you are. I don't think anybody would deny that Serena Williams is the best women's tennis player in the world, but she only plays about 8 tournaments a year as opposed to the #1 and 2 girls that are playing 23 or 24 events a year. And they earn those 1 and 2 rankings because of it.
There's a 3-minute break here as Alan Garner and Abraham Montijo slap hands. It's
become a tradition, Dave.
15-0 at half. As we'll have a 3-minute break. We're also going to take one here in the booth. We'll be back in just a bit. It's the R48 Pro in Tucson, Arizona with Fink and Vincent. We'll be back in just a bit. Stick with us.
That sucks, man.
No, okay, as long as you guys, I mean, I just didn't know if it was...
Yeah. I don't think we have anything to do.
Babe, is your leg all right? Is your leg all right? 1 minute.
We are back in Tucson, Arizona for stop number 2 of the Race for 8 season, and halftime is now complete as Anthony Celesto gets the guys back in order. The score should say on the scoreboard 15-0. I believe Alan Garner will be serving here at 15, as Abraham Montijo had the first serve to start the 1-game match to 25.
Play resumes. Allen serves 15-0.
Allen, Dave, defeated 2 of the guys in the 5 through 8 range here at the U.S. Open playoffs. Emmett Pashot, Andy Nett, outscoring them by an average of 21-7 in those 2 matches to pick up the $3,000 for 5th place at the U.S. Open. And you're talking about, Dave, 2 of the top 8 players on our tour, and he's scoring 3 times more points than them on average in each game. Pretty amazing. And he's infinitely scoring more points than Abraham Montijo. Am I saying that correctly, Dave?
Infinitely?
Infinitely.
Oh, infinitely.
Yeah.
That's not how you said it.
Struggling.
Well, it's early.
16-0.
Now we're at 16-0. I like that serve right there from Allen because it sets up some of that best offense. And look at that little paddle ball, sort of big ball slap from Montijo, who's going to, I thought, do it again.
Oh, complete miss hit there from Abe with a good chance to win a rally. Now, Dave, if you're Alan Garner and you see Abraham's mother and his best friends and his junior students out there in the crowd watching him get shut out, do you start thinking about, can I get this guy on the scoreboard, or you just go for the 0?
Side out.
Allen is a nice guy. That's all I can say.
0-17.
I wouldn't put it past Allen to throw a couple points out there.
Alan Garner has actually gotten shut out before. Emmett Pashot shut him out, Dave, in the 2007 U.S. Open for 5th place. Allen went on to win the 2nd game after getting shut out in the 1st, and then lost the tiebreaker 11-7. And against Ricardo Diaz, he also got shut out in the game number 1 and ended up winning that match. Of course, Dave, this is only a 1-game match, though.
That was in Texas. Dallas, I believe. That's where Allen played Tommy Little in the finals.
And that's where, I believe, he played Sean Lenning in the semifinals at that time, where the draw was
17-0.
a disaster.
And the draw here isn't a disaster?
Well, we do
Second
have
serve.
the top 2 players separated, opposite sides of the draw. We've got the world champion on the bottom of the draw, along with the number 2 ranked player.
18-0.
Yeah, Andy Nett did win a world title. Do you remember that? It was 2 weeks ago. I know it's hard to keep track. He and his partner are the only 2 world champions in this draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got me on that. I was going to say that. Dan Armijo is also a world champion. He's in the upper bracket up against Charlie Shanks. But
Dan Armijo and Alan Garner, believe it or not, share something in common. You wouldn't think it by looking at them. But both guys have a tendency to retire. But then yet, you see them the next day, you see them at the next event. You see them everywhere, really.
0-18.
this is the men's round of 16 action with Abraham Montijo scoring his first point and giving a fist pump.
With a short serve, Dave, or was that good?
Plays 18.
One serves 18. I
thought that was on the line. And now a beautiful stroke from Abraham. Finally starting to let his swing go.
2 plays 18.
You could hear great contact there from 37 feet.
Short ball. Second serve.
Sometimes you get that first point, Dave, and then you start scoring points, and it's really kind of more of a psychological thing. I believe personally that handball is very psychological, and a lot of players, if they can master that part of that with their head, they can do so much better on the court.
18 plays 2.
Well, you know, when you're down 18-0, you have everything to lose because you are thinking about getting shut out. But once you get that first point, it's almost like you have nothing to lose. And you just start swinging freely, having fun. All of a sudden, you can put together a run.
That was a nice steady shot right there from Alan Garner as he guided that one in and also put it down low, 19-2. Scoreboard says game 1, but there is only one game until the semifinals. It's a one-game match to 25.
Is there a way we can change that, Dave, from game 1 to one game to 25? Was there room for that?
20 plays 2.
It's just a little bit
How
more
about just
writing.
one match? Match
Short
one.
ball.
How about
like
one
second
game
serve.
to 25?
Huh.
It's only 7 more digits to throw in there with one more space.
Well, for you, Dave, you never know. They might just do it. If I asked, probably
21
not.
plays 2.
21-2 is a score here. You seem to be able to get your way around in this broadcast. Nice left hand right there from Abraham Montijo. I ask, not so much. You, on the other
2
hand,
plays 21.
iron fist.
And that's an ace from Abraham.
Good serve.
Double bounce before the back
3
ball.
plays 21.
He's got a nice serve down the right.
Short ball.
That's a good
Short
call.
ball.
And a fast call from Anthony Celesto. Abraham didn't agree, but it was short.
Second serve.
It's going to be a big setup for Allen.
Abe needs to improve his balance a little bit more as he's moving laterally. You see a guy, Dave, like Tyree or Alan Garner that's able to move laterally and set himself and still drive the ball with power and precision. Abraham moves laterally and he's completely off balance. Doesn't really have the strength in his core. That's a beautiful shot there, but he doesn't have that strength to be able to twist and hit the ball with velocity and where he wants to hit it. Comes off a lot more wild.
21. Short.
Luis Moreno, Dave, another guy that can plant and
Second
set
serve.
on a dime and still drive the ball. And those, Dave, I think are the toughest guys to play. You think you've got them in trouble. And the next thing you know, they're blasting a ball with
21
hop
plays
into
3.
your body.
Short ball.
Both of these players wearing the white
Second
shirt.
serve.
This is the R48 Pro Tucson stop number 2 with the World Players of Handball.
Dave, a lot of players and fans asking me, you know, what team are these qualifiers going to be on? What team will Abraham be on? Some of these new guys that didn't play last year, like Nikolai and Jonathan Iglesias, where do they go? Where do the 13 through 16 losers go? Are they also
3 plays
on
21.
teams? I mean, these are, you know, a lot of the questions that we hear.
That's a broken ball there, baby.
And of course, just as I've asked this long question, we have a little break, so it works out perfectly.
The team that took last place last year, the Salt Lake City Aces, get to draft first in the draft. And we already know that Vic Perez represents the Salt Lake City Aces. We also know that Abraham Montijo, I believe, was drafted by the Seattle WAC team
Are we going
last
to play
year,
with 2 balls?
along with Chip Morales.
Okay.
So that means that Nikolai Nahorniak would go to the Salt Lake City Aces.
Well, they have their choice. They could also pick Anthony Celesto.
John
I believe.
Iglesias.
Abe serves.
Celesto is not a technical qualifier. He was a
Okay.
loser of a qualifier.
Three,
They would get either
plays
Iglesias or
21.
Nikolai. And that's really
So does
their-
that team captain have to make that pick before the tournament starts, or is that after this first
Second
event?
serve.
They get to make the pick before the actual match takes place.
Okay.
And Alan Garner is that team captain, so he will, on the post-game interview,
Okay.
hopefully give us
Forward plays
either
21.
Iglesias or Nahorniak.
Oh, just an amazing shot from Allen.
That was beautiful, wasn't it? Left hand, left
He's got
corner
the
kill.
touch and the power.
21 plays 4.
Just seemed to float that in, but it still has a lot of pace on it. I don't know if there's another guy in the game that can hit that shot.
Second serve.
Alan Garner shook my hand this morning when I picked him up left-handed. I said, well, that is your strong hand, so probably feels
Thank
pretty
you, Abe.
natural.
Good call.
Abraham got that on 2 bounces, said no. Allen and the referee both congratulated him.
22 plays 4.
Wow. Abraham really got over the top of that ball, Dave.
Oh, and that serve
Four
comes
plays
off the
22.
sidewall into your body, and you break over the top of it. You hit a huge reverse because of the spin that's already on the ball and the power that's coming with it. And you see there, Dave, Abraham needs to use his non-hitting arm, his right arm when he's hitting with his left hand. That right arm has a tendency to just be
22
pinned
plays 4.
on his right hip. Needs to extend that elbow out towards the target. I know his coach, Fred Lewis, works with him on that, but sometimes when you get in the heat of the battle, you fall into some old habits.
And that's what Alan Garner is able to do. He handcuffs you so quickly with that power.
Well, that was actually not a good shot from Allen. Abe expecting a corner kill, and all of a sudden the ball's into his chest with a lot of pace.
23 plays 4.
Look at that score.
Short ball. Second serve.
I believe, Dave, you might be seeing a lot of our referee in the booth today, as he's been hired by the WPH, Anthony Celesto.
And now Alan Garner is at game and match point here.
Possible match point 4.
And perhaps Dave, falling out of that 1 through 4 was the best thing that happened to Allen. He seems more motivated now than I've seen him in years.
No bad bounces. Abe was trying to get a bad bounce or a slide.
Yeah. Check the ball, please.
We don't call slides here.
No, I don't. Sorry. Four plays 24. Short. Second serve.
And now Abe stepping in, being aggressive,
Point.
pushing Allen from side to side and ending it with a great fly kill in the front
Plays
court.
24.
Wow, that was just over the line and smoked. Abraham Montijo is one of those guys that
Possible match plays 5.
is a confidence player. If he's confident, he plays top of the level handball.
Short. Second serve.
Alan Garner just doesn't seem to want to end this. He's torturing Abe here in this rally. And Abe finds the bottom board, by far his best rally of the match. 34 shots. Dave ended with an Abraham Montijo kill shot with his left hand. Just his first left-handed kill of this match, and it came at a great time. Dave, he's back in the server's box, fighting off defeat here in the round of 16.
You're watching the WPH R48 Pro Handball Championship in Tucson, Arizona, the Race for 8. Dave, it simply is a series of tournaments that act as qualifiers for the Big Players Championship over Cinco de Mayo weekend in Seattle, Washington at the Washington Athletic Club, a club that sponsors you as you are, I believe, the team captain of the Seattle WAC team.
Well, you've named me team captain of every team I've been on, so I appreciate that. I don't know how valid it is.
Well, I believe you are
okay.
the team captain, but nonetheless, it's a great facility. We had a great time last year for the Players Championship, and we're going to return once again to Seattle, Washington in May of 2013. But before that happens, we have stops in Houston, Denver, Juarez, Mexico, which will be fun. We already had the U.S. Open in Fountain Valley, California, Tucson, Arizona.
And Salt Lake City.
And Salt Lake City, which is one of the best stops of the year. So it's going to be sort of the Rocky Mountain region tour, so to speak, as we make our way to Seattle, Washington. Those with the top 8 highest ranking points will get the invite to Seattle. And
now, just to explain to people, to qualify for Seattle only counts, Dave, the points that you accumulate during the race season, starting with the Simple Green U.S. Open and the 6 race stops. The seedings and the rankings are based on a 12-month rolling ranking system, not to be confused with the race points.
And so right now, number 1 in the race points is Paul Brady. And then I believe it's Charlie Shanks, Luis Moreno, Sean Lenning.
Paul Brady picked up 20 points for winning the U.S. Open because of the double points. I believe, Dave, he will qualify for Seattle even if he doesn't play another stop. Last season, Dave, it took 18.5 points to qualify for Seattle as the 8th spot, but that was over 7 events. This season is only over 6 events. So already with 20 points, you'd have to think that he's a lock almost to qualify for Seattle this season.
And Paul Brady did say that he's interested. Here it is, possible game and match. Good serve right there from Garner. What a time to pull out that overhand tomahawk fist, but then on the other hand, Abraham comes in and gets a, what he just said, Sapo shot, although I thought that was a good get from Abe. That's a nice serve from Abraham.
Well, now Abe outscoring Allen 6-3 in the last 9 points.
Short. Second serve.
I like that serve from Abraham. There's not much you can do with it unless you're Alan Garner.
Boy, Allen's left hand is just truly remarkable.
Possible match point, play 6.
Alan Garner will benefit greatly, Dave, as top 10 pro Chip Morales is moving to San Antonio. He'll be a sparring partner of Allen's every week, couple times a week, and I think you'll see both their games go up, but Alan Garner was certainly strong enough here today, Dave, in his first round, taking out local favorite and WPH Elite Team member and employee Abraham Montijo, who's back on the pro rankings for the first time since 2011. Has to feel good about that. He'll be playing off in the 9 through 12 playoffs that start tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So he can still salvage, Dave, what has already been a very good event for him. Alan Garner will move on to the round of 8, where he'll face the winner of Luis Moreno and Shorty Ruiz. Looks like it'll probably be Luis Moreno, and that match will be, I believe, at 5 o'clock today, local time.
Coming up next, though, it will be Charlie Shanks, John Iglesias and Eddie Chip Morales here at 11 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. It's about 30 minutes from now. This last match only took 30 minutes. These have an hour separation between the two, just to give us a little rest here in the booth, as well as those that in the stands that have purchased tickets. And we have a full house here in Tucson, Arizona once again. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes from now. We have a really good matchup. If you want to see some good handball and probably a close match, at least in what I think Chip Morales versus John Iglesias is certainly going to be one that will circle on our scorecard as, what do you call it, the editor's choice?
Well, Chip Davis 3-0 against Jonathan in 4-wall. He's 0-3 in 3-wall, but this is 4-wall, so he certainly has the edge. They haven't played in about 3 years, but each time they've played has been very close. Chip has squeaked out wins, as he's done here a number of times on these courts. He seems to win close matches here on these courts. We'll see if that holds true today. I'm expecting a very close match as well. I think, Dave, you predicted an overtime match, and I would predict something that's within 2 or 3 points either way.
Okay, we'll have Chip Morales and John Iglesias coming up in about 30 minutes from now. Here, though, it was Alan Garner taking down Abraham Montijo 25-6. For Dave Fink, Linda Manning, Ben Garab, my name is Dave Vincent. We'll be back. More Race for 8 action in Tucson, Arizona, right around the corner.
For more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on. I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.